Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and today we're going to be looking at some of the top stories from r/NuclearRevenge. Before we do though, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest videos. Cheat on me and I'll ruin your life for everybody you touch. Ronnie was a serial cheater throughout high school, but he was more than that. He was manipulative. He would blow through relationships, typically 4 at a time. They would only ever last a week to a couple months before the girls would catch him cheating. He'd proceed to leak their nudes or spill their secrets and move on to a new demographic of women. He was charismatic and scapegoated his problems onto his dying father. It didn't matter anyhow, he would destroy the victim's reputation until they weren't trusted. Anyways, despite this, I was in love. I was his side piece through it all. Morally, I knew it was wrong, but I had never been in love before. Besides, he wasn't lying to me like all the other girls. He was honest about the fact that he was cheating. I was special. I stuck out. 2 years later, and he's fallen in love with me, too. Or so I thought. He vowed to give up cheating, even gave up watching adult films, just to have me love him back. I accepted it. We planned to marry, and he was always so smart about his manipulation. When friends blocked me randomly or called me abusive, I thought it was just a misunderstanding. When people became aware of deep personal secrets, I thought maybe I had slipped up during a conversation. No one ever told me Ronnie had called me abusive, a cheater, or a liar. I never knew he accused me of being the things that he secretly was. He would insult me late at night, before bed, and then claim he didn't remember in the morning. He would slip sly comments into our talks. Just enough to make me doubt myself, but never to question him. He was a master at gaslighting until I hated myself and only wanted to please him. I was head over heels in love, despite all of it, and he would casually slap me whenever I was upset. But when I said things he didn't like, he would slap me across the face and I would be too shocked to speak. He followed it up by laughing and playing it off as okay to do, or a joke so I wouldn't fight back. If I expressed it was wrong or told anyone, he said I was misunderstanding a playful tap. Halfway through our relationship, I followed work to another state and maintained an LDR with him. LDR meaning long distance relationship for those who may not know. It was my dream. I wanted so badly to stay, but after 8 months I gave up my home, my pets, and my job to move 1,000 miles across the country to live with him again. I had literally nothing and was absolutely penniless. 3 months after this, I caught him cheating, and he asked a girl on a date via an alt Twitter account. I was hurt, but ultimately it wasn't so bad, so I forgave him. The seed of doubt was already planted. However, 2 months later, I snooped through his phone and noticed he had several Reddit accounts saved to Chrome. I vaguely recall that he used Reddit to view porn, and before, I got a bad feeling in my stomach. I began guessing his common email/password combos, and I got 5 hits total. They were more than I expected. I figured maybe he was lying about not watching adult videos, which is not a big deal to me, but for 6 months he had been using these accounts to cheat on me using hookup and adult video subreddits. I confronted him, and he screamed, telling me he had already apologized to me for cheating a few months ago, and I needed to quit making him sad. That he had already said sorry and that I wasn't going to get anything else. He explained that he had continued to cheat because he feared I would leave and he wanted a second option. I spent a week and a half sobbing. I had nothing but this man and I had never been good enough for him. I was destroyed. He screamed at me nearly every day, telling me my crying was annoying and that my depression made him uncomfortable. Telling my friends I was guilt-tripping him over something that didn't happen. Finally, I snapped. I had wasted all of my high school and early adult years with a man who did nothing but walk on me. I went back to Reddit and counted every person he had flirted with or exchanged messages with. I began to voice record every conversation and screenshot every text. Next, I downloaded Timber and Bumble. For every girl he cheated on me with, I effed a guy behind his back. When we went out with friends, I began to act more and more sad and slowly dropped in conversation how Ronnie had been yelling at me the night before and that it had upset me. I began to vent to his friends and show them every screenshot. I then emailed his mother, his grandparents, his work, the voice recordings of him screaming at me, and I asked his boss if his company supported domestic violence. I cried to his mother, and she held me as I vented my frustrations, explaining how she had been cheated on by Ronnie's father. Ronnie began to scapegoat again. He told me he was sick in the head and that his depression was causing him to act like this. I knew he was attempting to gaslight me. When we were young, I was so in love with him that I saved almost every photo and text he sent me to a OneDrive. I found all the times he admitted to leaking nudes, cheating, and ruining girls' lives. I got in contact with each of the girls, making one big group chat and sending them every bit of evidence I could find. These were then posted all over Facebook. He had dreams of getting into politics. I joined every political group in our area and pretended to be interested in joining. I befriended the members and casually dropped into conversation how Ronnie had cheated on me and verbally abused me and ruined other people's lives. They would inquire more, and I would vent to show them the mountain of evidence I had collected. Ronnie was still unaware I had done it. He spent the night screaming and crying about how no one liked him and how he wasn't sure why. He had lost his job, his friends, and his family wouldn't speak to him. He was being publicly shamed on social media, and his political group had ousted him. I finally dropped it onto him that I had done it, and I was leaving. During all this, I had secretly removed what little money I had from his bank account and contacted distant relatives and asked for a place to stay. I was leaving, and he didn't have anything left to abuse or manipulate. I don't have a solid ending for this. I just wanted to say F you, Ronnie. I wasted my youth being abused, and I won't stand for it anymore. Note, cross-post because r/ProRevenge deemed this too strong. Oh boy. Couples like this are just a handful on both ends, aren't they? Remember, kids, once a cheater, always a cheater. If you see him cheat on someone else, they're gonna cheat on you too. 11 of history's most unmerciful revenge stories, number 1. This is actually just one story for those of you watching the video. The first on our list of revenge stories involves a sheriff turned vigilante after his wife was killed in a shooting by southern mobsters. His name was Buford Pusser, and his righteous journey to avenge his wife. For most of his life, Pusser made his career in public service. Before he was a police officer, Pusser served as a Marine who later enjoyed a brief stint as a popular wrestler in Chicago. His tall frame and large build earned him the nickname of Buford the Bull. In the ring. In Chicago, he met his future wife Pauline, and they got married 2 years later. The couple moved to Pusser's hometown in McNairy County, Tennessee, where Pusser quickly rose through the ranks of local law enforcement. He was elected chief of the police and constable, and later he was elected county sheriff at just 27 years old, making him the youngest sheriff ever elected in Tennessee history. The young sheriff was fearless and wasted no time cracking down on mafia activity, concentrating on the state border between Tennessee and Mississippi, which was controlled by two separate gangs, the Dixie Mafia and the State Line Mob. The mob gangs made a lot of money off their illegal productions of moonshine, so Pusser's crackdown was obviously not appreciated. By 1967, Pusser had survived countless assassination attempts, killing several of the hitmen who tried to take him out. He was a local hero to the public, but he became a prime target for the increasingly desperate mob. Things changed forever on August 12, 1967, when his wife, Pauline, decided on a whim to accompany him to investigate a roadside disturbance. A car pulled up alongside theirs and suddenly opened fire. Pusser suffered a severe injury to his jaw but survived. His wife, however, was killed. Stricken with the guilt over his wife's death at the hands of a mob hit Pusser was most likely the only intended target of, Pusser cracked down on crime even harder than ever before. He publicly named his 4 assassins, Kirksey, McCord, Nix Jr., and the leader of the Dixie Mafia, as the mastermind behind the hit that killed his wife, although Nix never saw justice for Pauline Pusser's murder, though he was later sentenced to life in prison for ordering the murder of a Mississippi Circuit Court judge. The other assassins involved in the murder of Pusser's wife mysteriously dropped dead one by one. Rumors circulated that Pusser had organized hits on the mafia members to avenge his wife, but because there was no evidence to tie him to the deaths personally, and possibly because nobody was going to prosecute Pusser for avenging his murdered wife, Pusser was never charged for the killings. Edit. Wow, thank you guys for all the love and support. And with that, we've reached the end of today's r/NuclearRevenge. So sad, I know, a bit shorter than our usual videos, but these stories just happened to wrap up rather quickly. If you liked it, you could always check out some of our other stuff, and even subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest videos. As always, my name's Ryan, the official host here on Reddit Voice, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you guys in tomorrow's video.